Coach Adams loves the show, and he jumps for joy every time it's on. That should come as no surprise to anyone. So skate to that favorite place and show us your muscles. Nothing but net from way downtown. Sports Night is next.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sports Night. I'm Joe Young.
And I'm Howie Shapiro. Things are heating up.
They are. You know, we've got a couple of teams that already done. We talked, obviously, last week about the girls hockey team losing in the first round of section playoffs. We got boys hockey team going into the section playoffs this week. Wrestling and gymnastics competing in section tournaments this past week. And, of course, one young lady making it to the state tournament in Nordic skiing this past week as well.
Yes, absolutely. And then basketball teams wrapping up their seasons as well, getting ready for sections.
Girls going into the final week of their season. Boys just 4 games remaining on their schedule. And before you know it, the sun's going to come out. It's going to be time to play some baseball.
Before you know it is right. And we'll be doing Sports Night on Tuesdays before you know it as well.
Before you know it, we will indeed. Well, we'll start with the boys hockey team heading into the section tournament this week, and ending the regular season wasn't too kind to the Cardinals. Cardinals were at the Crick on Tuesday night for the final home game of the year, hosting an Andover team that is having one of the best years in its short history. Huskies came in at 18-5, having won 7 of their last 8 games. They wanted a strong finish, and they hardly let the Cardinals breathe in this one. Andover starts the scoring less than a minute into the game. Charlie Shane flying up the wing, slides to the slot, snaps it off the post and in. That puts the Huskies on the board very early. They outshot the Cardinals 17-2 in the first period. Their only other goal is late in the period. Great tip out front by Nick Dainty. Still only 2-0 after 1. Changed quickly in the second. Andover's top line having their way with the Cardinals. Charlie Shane gets a second just 12 minutes in. Then 7 seconds later, he feeds Dainty at the back door, his second of the game. Those goals just 7 seconds apart. Cardinals down 7 before Tommy Carls got behind the defense, slid that one through the 5-hole. Cardinals avoid the shutout, but they were outshot 55-6 in this game, and the final 12-1 in favor of Andover.
Yeah, ouch. Obviously I wasn't there, unfortunately, but you know, I was looking at the stats from Andover, and I think they had 3 players with more than 40 points coming into that game.
Their top line,
they're pretty good.
Their top line is legit.
Yeah.
They had the first 7 goals of the game for Andover, 3 for Dainty, 3 for Shane. I think each of them also had 2 or 3 assists in the game.
A point fest.
And they were actually trying to feed McNamara later, and then they finally got him on the board. And then they undressed, and they were in street clothes on the bench for the third period. Third period, of course, was running time, but you know, it's the Cardinals. That's a hard one to take. You only get 1 shot on goal in the third period, 2 in the first, and the team you're facing, a crosstown team, has twice as many goals on the board as you have shots on goal.
Yeah, that, you know, anytime you're letting in 12 goals, that you know, you're not doing something you need to be doing, and obviously they're struggling.
Yeah, and they did play a little bit better against Anoka to close out the season. On Thursday, they lost to the Tornadoes 5-2, but they kept it a little bit closer. They were outshot about 2-1 in this one. 46, and I think the shots against, and I think the Cardinals had 17 or 18 shots, something along those lines. Tommy Carls got both goals. Both were unassisted. Connor Wise made 41 of the 46 saves. You know, he's really stepped up. The sophomore netminder has stepped up and taken possession of that top spot. I spoke with him over the weekend. He's feeling very comfortable about it. I told him I thought what I've seen of him, he's playing very well. He feels very good about it. Talked to a couple of the other guys I saw over the weekend, and they all kind of said the same thing. We just want to go out and have a better game and maybe keep things closer than expected when they go into the section tournament.
Well, and you know as well as anybody, when a goaltender, you're not getting offensive support, makes it much more difficult to really play your game, and you're getting a lot of shots on goal, and your team isn't scoring a lot. It's difficult. And Tommy Carls with a couple more goals, he's going to be fun to watch as his career continues to progress here at Coon Rapids.
Yeah, definitely, but they're going to need everybody to come up and play a little bit stronger, play a little bit better defensively, not kind of hold down those shots on net, but also provide a little bit of offense.
They need to.
They're going to be heavily, Centennial will be heavily favored in their first round matchup on Thursday. The Cougars, the number 1 seed in Section 5AA, the Cardinals, number 8. But, like I said, they just want to come out and play better than they have and keep it closer than expected. Nobody wants to end the season getting blown out. They'll look at the rest of the teams in the section. Maple Grove, the number 2 seed, will host Osseo or take on Osseo in the first round. Blaine is the number 3 seed. They get Spring Lake Park. Champlain Park and Anoka, the 4-5 seed matchup that will face the winner of Centennial and Coon Rapids.
Well, to say Coon Rapids has their work cut out for them, that's an understatement against Centennial. They're awfully good. Well, the Cardinal Wrestlers are preparing for individual section tournament coming up at the end of this week after a quick exit to last week's team tournament. Coon Rapids in an unfamiliar position as a lower seed and an underdog in the first round of the 7 AAA brackets. The Cardinals' 17-10 record earned them a 6th seed in a quarterfinal battle with St. Francis squad that had beaten them earlier, 38-26 in December. This was a winnable duel for the Cardinals, but they needed to rack up points where they could, and their lower weights came through in a big way. 106-pounder Alex Kowalczyk gets the Saints' Brady Peltier in the cradle late in the period. This one was not going to the second. He gets the pin in 150. You can't ask for a better start than that, and that's how a follow-up Logan Rotsin uses the arm bar to get his man rolled over, then goes chest to chest, gets the pin in just 125. We're going to move to 120. John Slobodny isn't going to get the pin, but a good whip here to get a crucial takedown. He holds on for the 6-5 decision, gives the Cards a 15-0 lead. Well, St. Francis answered with a pin and a tech fall and cut the lead, but Moise Madimba will keep Coon Rapids in front with a great match at 138. He gets Zach Bonte all wrapped up, as you saw there, gets the Cardinals their 3rd pin of the night, this one at 447. The Saints got a pin at 138 before Dalen Jones got the Cards another hard-fought win. Good shrug to the takedown, the fireman's carry, and that's the difference in a 3-2 decision. Cardinals still led 24-17. Fortunately, St. Francis just too strong up top. Nick Berg got a 3-2 decision for the Cardinals at 195, but the Saints win 5 of the top 6 weights, including 2 pins, 2 majors. The Cardinals team season ends with a 40-28 loss.
Yeah, no real surprises in the section. The one minor upset was not a minor upset. Cambridge Isani, the number 4 seed, getting past Blaine. They threw me off with the number 5 in the semifinals, but all 4 top seeds advanced in the first round. Anoka easily handling Champlain Park, then making relatively easy work of both Cambridge Isani and Forest Lake on their way to another Section 7 championship. And they will be a favorite to go deep into that state tournament. Of course, again, they were the runner-up at state last year. We saw them, just over a week ago, and they are very good. Have a lot of guys, especially through the middle weights, that will pose serious matchup problems for any team in the state.
Yeah, and of course, Apple Valley got upset, or I won't say upset, got beaten by Shakopee, so that Apple Valley will not be able to continue their reign.
Well, the individual sections come up this weekend with Friday and Saturday. A couple of Cardinals certainly have an opportunity to try and advance out of the section and get to the state tournament themselves. State tournaments will be held next weekend. Gymnastics season is over at Coon Rapids High School with no Cardinals able to qualify for this week's state tournament. Still, they were able to go out on a high note. The Cardinals entered the tournament having posted their best score in several years in their final meet of the regular season. They just wanted to keep that going into sections. And that's pretty much what they did. Everybody putting up solid scores in the 7AA championships. This is Hannah Gross on the beam, a solid routine for the senior. Nice score with an 8.225, only good enough for 23rd place. Freshman Cassie Rushmeyer up next. Check out the one-handed walkovers back-to-back. Then on the dismount, a front somersault layout position with a full twist. That routine earns her an 8.575, and she takes 18th at sections. Move to the floor, the Cardinals' other senior, Kamika Hurdle, with a solid tumbling run. She posts an 8.65 on the floor, also finishing in 23rd place. Sophomore Rachel Dieters, another Cardinals gymnast, showing the strong future of the program. Great routine and scores a 9.15, just barely missed state with a 9th place finish in the section. All 4 girls in the all-around scored 30 or more. Their 2 seniors were over 32. And as a team, they post a 130.675, hitting the 130 mark for the 3rd time late in the season.
Yeah, great to see him hit those kind of numbers. Obviously, unfortunately, nobody made it past this, but nice to see him again finish over 130. That was their goal, to continue to build from that, and good way to end.
Yeah, and Hannah Gross and Kamika Hurdle were their all-around leaders at sections. They will be missed, but that's just 2 seniors. They have a number of other girls that have contributed, and it should be very exciting to see what they're able to do next year and beyond. Mentioned at the top of the show, one young lady representing Coon Rapids at the state tournament, Abby Ellenbecker, there for the 2nd time, just a sophomore, and she finished in 49th place in the freestyle and then posted a 19:03.6 in the classic to finish 51st overall at state. Congratulations to her. Great way to finish her year, and still a lot more to come. She's got 2 more seasons ahead of her.
Always exciting. You get this kind of opportunity to go to state again, and she'll continue to develop her skills and hopefully make it again next season.
Yeah, basketball teams had a rare Monday night game last week while we were here having a tough time struggling through sports night last week. The boys basketball team was not struggling as they hosted Centennial, and they crushed the Cougars, beating them 71-48. 4 guys in double digits. Holland and Smith each putting up 15. Marshall Holland a double-double, grabbing 10 boards along the way. Shai Sayers had 13. Zach Hussein had 12. Marcel Winston, just 6 points. Grabbed 10 rebounds, but just 6 points. So nice when your leading scorer or one of your top scorers only has 6 points, but you still put up 71 and come away with a 25-point or 23-point win.
I wonder how many dimes he had, because, boy, he does a really nice job with assists. We saw that in the game that we did. We'll talk about a little later. He really does a nice job of setting up his teammates.
Well, and that game, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Everybody was passing really well, but we'll get to that one in a minute.
Well, the Cardinals are hoping they could carry some of the momentum forward when they welcomed a much more powerful foe to the floor on Thursday. The Maple Grove Crimson had 15 wins on the year and were 3rd place in the West Division standings, trying to keep pace with leader Osseo and 10th-ranked Park Center. They were averaging 65 points per game, but had really turned it up a notch over the last few weeks. So the Cardinals would definitely have their hands full. Coon Rapids getting the start they needed to keep pace with the Crimson. Marshall Holland dials up long distance, connects from the right wing, keeping the score close early. But that doesn't last long as Maple Grove offense was getting warmed up. Nate Adams left all alone on the right side. He makes them pay for that, draining the 3 to start a big run. Crimson attacking again. Adams from way outside in the top of the key makes it look easy. That put up Maple Grove on top by a score of 15-5. Coon Rapids has some guys that can hit the long ball too. Marcel Winston dropping this one and trying to cut the lead, but the Crimson are up 39-16 at the half. They pick up where they left off in the second. Good movement to find Alex Batiste underneath. He led all scorers with 19 points, one of 5 Crimson players in double digits. I don't think the Cardinals expected any mercy, and they certainly didn't get any from Maple Grove. Mac Wilner hits another 3, lead over 30 points as the Crimson coast to a 78-47 win.
Yeah, tough when the other team comes out and they're just firing on all cylinders, and all of a sudden you're behind by double digits early. Well, but
as Coach O said, we only shot 28% against Maple Grove. Ouch.
Yeah, that's certainly a big part of it, and part of it I think too was that big deficit early forced the Cardinals to kind of force up some shots early and try and push the pace a little bit more than they maybe needed to. Panic a little bit early, but things got better.
Yes, they did.
They did. The lopsided loss to Maple Grove did not sit well with Cardinals, but St. Francis coming to the Fieldhouse on Saturday night At least they didn't have to stew on it too long. Saints came in with just 4 wins on the season, and that included their last 2 games. They weren't nearly the same kind of competition as Maple Grove, and they were the perfect kind of opponent for the Cardinals to take out some frustrations. But give the Saints credit, they kept it interesting, at least into the second half. This one was a shootout early on. Marcel Winston's three-pointer started it, and over the next few minutes, the Saints hit 4 three-pointers to the Cardinals' 2, and the Saints led 14-8. Then the Cardinals' defense stepped up. Holland with the block. Sayers gets it up to Hussein. He goes to Winston at the back door. He gets a bucket and the foul. Part of an 18-5 run that put the Cardinals in front for good. St. Francis fighting their way back to make it close before break. Christian Bednarz hits the three-pointer to make it a 1-point game. Just 20 seconds left in the half. Cardinals have one last chance. In the first, Winston loses it, tosses it up to Jackson Aurelius. He's going to the paint, hits the floater just before the buzzer. Cardinals up 31-28 going to the locker room. Coon Rapids pushed the lead to 11, then St. Francis got back within 4. Cardinals took over after that, dominating the middle of the second half. Hussein underneath on the great feed from Winston. Cardinals working so well together and smothering the Saints. Hussein with a great pass to Holland. Then he gets a great rebound and another great pass to Holland for the finish. Cardinals go up on a 26-2 run, everything going their way. Hussein gets a hand on the pass, then watch the save by Hussein on the pass going out of bounds, and a deflected pass still gets through to Sayers for the basket. Cardinals able to cruise from there on their way to a 70-50 win. But yeah, everything going their way through the middle part of that second half. But it all started on defense. St. Francis just absolutely smothered. They could not get into their offense. They couldn't set up. They couldn't look at the basket. They had very few shot attempts, and they only had one basket over a stretch of about 8 or 9 minutes.
Cardinals did a really nice job of neutralizing their bigs, because that was the strength of St. Francis coming in. Their front court went 6'5", 6'5", 6'4", so they had an advantage in that situation. Cardinals defensively, I thought in that second half specifically, played so well, and I love the effort Zach Hussein coming off the bench. I thought he was a big cog in that win as well. And just nice production from your leading scorer. I believe 21 points from Winston, 19 from Holland. I think that's what they ended up with. Nice effort.
Yeah, and they were all passing. I mean, everyone was playing really selflessly, moving the ball around, trying to make sure everybody got involved. It was a lot of fun to watch because everything was working. And as you saw in that last highlight, you know, even when St. Francis got a hand in on the pass, it still got through, and Sayers had the easy basket at the back door. So the Cardinals do have 4 games remaining, 2 weeks left. They're at Andover on Tuesday and at Totino Grace on Friday. And Howie,
we'll be there.
Let's take the show on the road. Girls basketball team will wrap up the regular season this week. Last week, they had to travel to take on Centennial on Monday. They lose 57-32 in that one. No one able to get into double digits. Ellie Carver leading the way with 9 points. Lainey Hanneman had 7. And the Ackerman twins each put up a half dozen. On Thursday, Cardinals traveled to Maple Grove, and that one didn't go much better. They lose 53-26 in that one. Brooklyn Dixon broke double digits with 10 points. Kylie Hetwer, the freshman, had 6. But look at that. Ellie Carver just 3 points, and Lainey Hanneman with 2. Those are 2 players you have to get involved in your offense if you're the girls basketball team.
True.
They have an advantage over almost any team in the league down low with those 2 and their size. You got to get more production than 5 points.
You really do. I mean, that's their strength of their game is underneath with those 2 big players. And yeah, you do. You need to get more production both offensively and defensively.
Well, we will see them on Tuesday when they host the Andover Huskies, and then they will finish up the regular season hosting Totino. So at least a little home cooking going into the postseason for the girls basketball team.
And this is an Andover team they beat earlier in the year obviously at Andover. So it's an opportunity for the Cardinals at 12-12 to see if they can get their record above 500. And, you know, they play well. They play their game. That's an opportunity for them to get that win.
Well, and we will have all of that action for you live here on CTN as we go down to the stretch in the winter season. Girls basketball live at 7 o'clock. Cardinals against the Huskies, and then boys basketball live at 7 o'clock at Totino Grace taking on the Eagles. And then we'll follow the girls basketball team into the playoffs next week. But that is going to do it for this edition of CTN Sports Night. I want to thank everybody out there for joining us and continuing to support everything we do here at CTN. For the entire crew, including Howie Shapiro, I'm Joe Young, saying good night.